All right, so good morning and welcome to this week's edition of Pacific Street Blues here at 89.7 The River. I'm Rick Galusha, and for the last 30 years, we've been spending time together. And of those last 15 years, we've used this event to work with the charity, the Toy Drive from the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, to try to raise some monies. So it's been a spectacular run of 15 years. We're having fun. We've got a show today. It's full of live music videos that were recorded especially for this show. It's a full 3 hours. So let's get started. This is new music from Joe and Tay, and they're new on the scene here in the Omaha music community, doing a song by Eric Clapton called Cocaine.
Pacific Street Blues Toy Drive for Pine Ridge simulcast, live stream, and radio show. Joe and Tay with their cover of Cocaine. And once again, we're back with an experiment benefiting Toy Drive for Pine Ridge Propane Fund. Going virtual this year. You can get us on the radio on 89.7 The River. And you can check out the live stream on the Live from Mars House, either Facebook page or YouTube page. I'm Corey from the Amplified Afternoon Show on 89.7 The River. We got Rick Galusha as well, and Lash LaRue here, the man that started Toy Drive for Pine Ridge years and years ago. And today the focus is propane. You already delivered the toys.
I did, yeah. Just got back yesterday.
From Toy Drive for Pine Ridge, you already delivered the toys up to the reservation. So why is propane so important for the residents of Pine Ridge?
It's their main source of heating, keeping the homes warm in the wintertime. Many of the residences are they're old FEMA trailers, and if you've ever lived in a trailer house, they're not insulated very well. Um, so yeah, just keeping people warm. I was talking earlier about how before we started the propane fund, I would go up in the springtime and hear about so and so's grandmother died this winter. Oh no, what happened? Froze to death. Ran out of propane and froze to death. Um, that's why we're here.
Yeah, it's literally the difference for some of the residents of Pine Ridge Lakota Sioux Reservation. It's literally the difference between life and death. So, Toy Drive for PineRidge.org is where details are available. Donations are certainly welcome there. And we're here, of course, with Rick Galusha, celebrating 30 years on the air with Pacific Street Blues. And are we ready to go, Rick, with our next performer?
I think we're ready to go. We've got another musician lined up. He's an area musician named Stephen Monroe. He's got a brand new record out. It's called Meet Me in Monroeville. And for the last few weeks, we've been listening to his track, Standing with Standing Rock. Today, he's going to play the old Sonny Boy Williamson song made famous by Led Zeppelin for most of us. It's called Bring It On Home. Right now, from Stephen Monroe.
I said, baby, I said, baby, we'll bring it on home to you. Yeah, well, I got my ticket, I got my load. Conductor Dunn yelled all aboard. Got my seat, gonna ride way back. Watch that train roll down that track. I said, baby, I said, baby, bring it on home to you. Think about the good times I once have had. Soul was happy, my heart got glad. When I think about the way you love me too, bet your life I'm coming home to you. I said, baby, I said, baby, bring it on home now. Bring it on home now. Gonna bring it on home now. Gonna bring it on home now. Gonna bring it on home. Bring it on home to you. Gonna bring it on home. Bring it on home to you. Gonna bring it on home. Bring it on home to you.
89.7 The River, Stephen Monroe covering some Zeppelin on this very special edition of Pacific Street Blues here on 89.7 The River. It is the annual Pacific Street Blues Toy Drive for Pine Ridge simulcast live stream and radio show. Doing it a bit different this year because of COVID-19. So everyone is streamed in. We're not doing the live concert that we've been doing the past few years, but we are certainly going to make this happen because it's so important for the residents of the Pine Ridge Lakota Sioux Reservation. So you can watch us on the live from Mars House Facebook page or YouTube page, or you can hear us on 89.7 The River. I'm Corey, host of Amplified Afternoons on 89.7 The River, here with Lash LaRue, the man behind Toy Drive for Pine Ridge, and Rick Galusha, your host of Pacific Street Blues, zoomed in with us today as well, celebrating 30 years on the air. And we're here because of propane. I know normally in years past we're talking toys, we're talking propane, but the toys have already been delivered this year to the children of Pine Ridge, so some kids are very happy thanks to all of your donations. Today we're talking about propane because it's very important for the residents of Pine Ridge to cook with and keep warm. It's wintertime, it's cold here. chances are it's going to be even colder up on the Pine Ridge Reservation this time of year.
Exactly. Although I did just come back from there yesterday, and no snow there, and I drove back to all this snow here. But it's coming, and it's cold, and toydriveforpineridge.org is where you can help. If you'd like to visit there, donations are welcome, and so that's kind of what we're hoping for today.
Yeah, and we're having some fun as well. Rick is always putting together something special for this, and we thought he was crazy a couple of years ago, and he's like, "Hey, let's do this live concert and have all these bands come in and just play one song." And Lash and I are like, "That's never gonna work," and then it ended up working out great. So we've got a new experiment today, and I think it's right on track so far. Rick, who do you have lined up for us next?
Well, this next guy is a personal friend of mine. His name is Russ Tippins, and he comes from Walls End, Newcastle upon Tyne. Russ used to live about 2 blocks away from the house that Sting grew up in. And years ago, I contacted Russ through the internet, and lo and behold, he and his daughter and his wife came and spent a week with us, and I can remember them performing a Tommy Bolin medley in our front yard with Troy Johnson and Mark Zavon, which was absolutely astonishing. Well, Russ is going to do a song today for us called Gallows Pole, which was originally recorded by Leadbelly. Now, Leadbelly is a mainstay artist that influenced the skiffle movement in England, and the skiffle movement birthed people through the influence of Lonnie Donegan, and birthed people like Paul McCartney and Jimmy Page and others. This song, Gallows Pole, of course, was covered by Led Zeppelin, and this is Russ Tippins for you right here on Pacific Street Blues.
Hangman, hold it a little while. Think I see my friend coming, riding many a mile. Friends, you get some silver. Did you bring a little gold? What did you bring me, my dear friend? You came from the gallows pole. Did you bring me from the gallows pole? Couldn't get no silver, couldn't bring no gold. You know I'm just too damn poor to keep you from the gallows pole. Hangman, hold it a little while. I think I see my brother coming, riding many a mile. Brother, you bring me some silver, you bring a little gold. What did you bring me, brother, just to keep it from the gallows pole? Well, brother, I brought you some silver, I brought a little gold, I brought a little of everything just to keep it from the gallows pole. Well, I brought you to keep it from the gallows pole. Hangman, turn your face a while. Tell me that I'm free to ride for many a mile. Sister, I implore you, taking by the hand, taking to some shady bar, just save me from the wrath of this man. Please take it, save me from the wrath of this man. Hangman, upon your face a smile. Tell me that I'm free to ride for many a mile.
Gallows Pull. It is our very special edition of Pacific Street Blues. It's the Toy Drive for Pine Ridge Propane Fund simulcast, live stream, and radio show. So yes, we're on the radio on 89.7 The River. And if you'd like to watch us, the Live from Mars House Facebook or YouTube page is where you can do that. I'm Corey from the Amplified Afternoon Show on 89.7 The River, here with Lash LaRue and Rick Galusha as well, your host of Pacific Street Blues for 30 years. And we're here today because we're talking propane for the Pine Ridge Lakota Sioux Reservation. Lash has already delivered the toys to the reservation for the toy drive, and now we've got obviously a long winter ahead of us, and propane is very important for the residents of Pine Ridge to keep warm and to cook with over the winter. So toydriveforpineridge.org is where you can get full details, and donations are of course welcome there. Do you have any thank yous yet?
I do, yeah. Robert has just visited the website, and thank you so much, Robert. And Thomas was also there at the website, and so thank you. We're still working out. We've got new microphones now. We're still working out a lot of these technical things between the radio and the live stream. So
it's our first year doing this, so yeah, working out some kinks. Hopefully you can hear us a little bit better. I know, I feel if you're watching the live stream, Lash and I have microphones in front of us. I always get a little camera awkward or TV awkward, but you put a microphone in front of me and I feel more natural all
definitely, yes. I if I just had a guitar, I would feel even better.
Yeah, you might later, right?
I will later, definitely.
Yeah, he's going to be performing a tune later. Rick, tell us a little bit about what it took to put this show together today. This is a different year with COVID-19, so we had to make everything safe. What did it take on your end?
Well, I can remember Larry and I were talking about doing the show this year, and I was driving down to Kansas City to take our kids away to college in St. Louis, and we were trying to come up with some ideas about how do we make it special. COVID presents quite a challenge. And I thought of Mars and Brent, and we kind of kicked it around for a little bit, figured out we could do it, and here we are. So it's pretty unique, I think, particularly for live radio. I feel like we're out on the edge here.
Yeah,
we're the vanguard.
Mars and Brent have been doing a special thing ever since the pandemic hit. They've been providing an online venue for local and regional musicians to come in and perform their crafts. So it's a very cool thing that they're doing, and we want to give a very special shout out to them because they're handling all the behind the scenes and technical, and also providing the venue. And we want to give a very big shout out as well to Sophia John, who's back at the radio station making sure that everything's going on there. So and thanks to you, Rick, for putting this all together, man. This is our first year doing this, and I think it's going to go off well. You got a lot of performers lined up. In fact, who do we have coming up next?
Well, who we've got coming up next is a guy who's a Vietnam War veteran, and over the years I've gotten to know Papa Rick Jensen, and played golf with him a few times this summer, except he kept beating me, so I had to eventually tell him I couldn't make it anymore. But Rick is going to he's been out and performing in the last year or so he's kind of new getting back into the live music performance after some health issues and challenges in life. We all face those as we get older. In this song, he's going to do the old Hank Williams track, Move It On Over, that for many of us was made famous by George Thorogood on one of his first 2-rounder records. And with that, I just want to say, move over, little dog. The big dogs.
Well, Papa Rick back here to do another
right
song. This one is
on Pacific Street Blues.
It's called Move It On Over. It was done by Hank Williams in 1947, which I always kind of considered to be maybe the original rock and roll tune, since it was done 5 years before Rock Around the Clock. And it's just got, to me, it was done in a Texas swing rhythm, but it's got that rock and roll soul. So anyway, without further ado, Move It On Over. Happy anniversary, Rick. Came in last night about 10:30. That baby of mine wouldn't let me in, so move it on over. Move it on over. Move over, little dog, 'cause the big dog's moving in. Yeah, she changed the dock on my front door, and now that key don't fit no more. Said move it on over. Scoot it on over. Move over, skinny dog, 'cause that fat dog's moving in. Well, this doghouse is mighty small, but it's better than no house at all. So ease it on over. I done let that deal go down, so pack it on over. Tote it on over. Move over, nice dog, 'cause the mad dog's moving in. Well, she warned me once and she warned me twice, but I don't take no one's advice, so scratch it on over. Yeah, shake it on over. Move over, little dog, 'cause the tall dog's moving in. Well, she crawled back to me on her knees, and I'll be busy scratching fleas, so slide it on over. Sneak it on over. Move over, good dog, 'cause the bad dog's moving in. Now remember, pup, before you whine, this side's yours and that side's mine. Shove it on over. Sweep it on over. Now move over, cold dog, 'cause the hot dog's moving in. Move it on over. Get the
89.7 The River. There's Rick Jensen with Moving On Over on this very special edition of Pacific Street Blues. It is the Toy Drive for Pine Ridge simulcast, live stream, and radio show edition. Although we're not talking toys today. The children of Pine Ridge already received their toys for this holiday season. What we're talking about is propane. The propane fund is another part of the Toy Drive for Pine Ridge. You've been doing Toy Drive for Pine Ridge since what? 2003, 2004?
2003. This is the 18th year.
When did you start focusing on propane? This is Lash LaRue, by the way.
Good morning. Oh, you know what? I think it was about the third or fourth year
Okay.
that we started doing that.
And the propane is important because the residents of Pine Ridge use it to heat their homes. They use it to cook with. And the winters can be long and cold and harsh on the Pine Ridge Reservation. For those who don't know, where's Pine Ridge located?
Well, basically drive almost to Wyoming through Nebraska here and take a right. Very southwestern corner of South Dakota.
So generally speaking, I mean, you know how the winters are here in the Omaha metro area. Generally speaking, it lasts a little bit longer up there, I would assume.
Definitely, yeah. There's many years I'm buying propane up through April.
ToyDriveForPineRidge.org. Donations are accepted there. Full details on the propane fund can be found there, or the Toy Drive for Pine Ridge Facebook page as well. I'm Corey from the Amplified Afternoon Show on 89.7 The River, here with Lash LaRue from Toy Drive for Pine Ridge, and Rick Galusha celebrating 30 years on the air with Pacific Street Blues. And as I understand it, today's kind of a holiday, isn't it, Rick? Rick Galusha Day?
Well, the mayor of Council Bluffs, Matt Walsh, was nice enough to commemorate our 30th anniversary with a mayoral decree this year. It was very kind of him, and I am truly flattered. That was such a nice honor.
Well, that's awesome.
In our hearts, every day is Rick Galusha Day.
At least in my mind, right?
Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to a few people who have visited the website this morning. Allison, thank you. Susan, thank you. Randy and Jody and Brian and our old buddy Tom just visited the website, and you guys are making a big difference in somebody's world this winter. Thank you so much.
And again, that website is toydriveforpineridge.org. I want to give a big shout out to Iowa Western Community College and 89.7 The River for providing us with this platform in order to make this happen every single year. Here we are, Pacific Street Blues. Rick, who's lined up to perform next on this very special edition of Pacific Street Blues?
Well, we've got a band that's been with us for a very long time now, which is the Rex Granite Band. And one of the interesting things about Rex and the band is that as they record songs, they send me CDRs so we can begin to get on their next record as quick as possible, which is very kind of them. They're going to do a song by Reverend Son House. And Son House was a reverend. And so he would play the devil's music on Saturday night and then crawl to church and play God's music on Sunday morning. And to give a little bit of context for this song, it's a song called John the Revelator, or the author of the book of Revelations, which is the 66th book in the Bible. Reverend Son House was a contemporary of Robert Johnson, and Robert Johnson just for context, was the same age as Ronald Reagan. So if you remember growing up with Ronald Reagan on the TV, Robert was the same age. This song was later covered by John Mellencamp in his Americana phase, and we're going to hear it right now from the Rex Granite Band featuring Sarah Bank.
Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Who's that riding, John the Revelator? Wrote the book of the seven seals. God walked out the cool of the day, called Adam by his name. Adam refused to answer, 'cause he was naked and in shame. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Who's that riding, John the Revelator? The book of the seven seals. Christ had 12 apostles and 3 he led away. He said, walk with me 1 hour while I go away yonder and pray. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Who's that riding, John the Revelator? Wrote the book of the seven seals, yeah. Christ rose on Easter morning. Mary and Martha came down to see. He said, go tell my disciples to meet me in Galilee. Tell me who's that riding, John the Revelator. Tell me who's that riding, the Revelator. Who's that riding, John the Revelator? The book of the seven seals, yeah. Riding, yeah. Riding. Tell
89.7 The River, Pacific Street Blues, Rex Granite Band featuring Sarah Bank. It's our very special Pine Ridge for Toy Drive simulcast live stream and radio show. If you're watching us on the live stream at the Live from Mars House, either Facebook page or YouTube page, and you're like, why is this guy pretending like he's on the radio? Well, we are on the radio. We're also on 89.7 The River. We're trying to do this in the safest way possible with COVID this year. And so my name's Corey from the Amplified Afternoon Show on the River. Rick Galusha is taking care of a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff, although he's zoomed in with us. In other words, he's the one that's lined up all the performers that have zoomed in today, and he's kind of taking care of the schedule. And I'm here with Lash LaRue, the man who started Toy Drive for Pine Ridge years ago. And the focus today is propane at toydriveforpineridge.org. The Pine Ridge Lakota Sioux Reservation is the poorest county in the United States.
That's correct.
And so propane is important because they use the propane to heat their homes. They use it for cooking during the winter months. What kind of homes are we talking about? What are the living conditions like for those of us who, most of us, have never been to Pine Ridge?
Talking about a lot of used FEMA trailers, trailer houses, not well insulated at all. If you haven't been there, it's really hard to explain the living conditions. It's not good.
Do you have any personal stories that you'd like to share about when it, relating to propane on Pine Ridge and why it's so important?
There's this last summer when I was up there, I ran into a guy that I kind of don't really know him, but we've seen each other over the years. An older guy, very very stoic, very kind of standoffish. We're not. That's why I say we can't really say he's a friend, but I know the guy, and he was someone that we helped with propane last winter. And when I saw him this summer, and usually it's I might get a nod out of the guy.
Yeah.
And when I saw him this summer, he came up to me. Sorry. When I saw him this summer, he came up to me and he hugged me.
And that's very unlike him.
Very, very unlike him. And he said, "Thank you. You saved my family this winter."
Wow.
So
that's how important propane is.
Yeah.
It's literally the difference. It can be the difference between life and death.
Yeah. I've had grandmothers call me who a lot of grandmothers raising grandkids up there, and say, I'm down to like 2% in my propane tank. The grandkids are hungry. I want to make them some soup, but heat the house, run the stove. I don't know what to do. I said, Grandma, go ahead, make the soup. I got some propane on the way. And I got the truck there that day. So that's the kind of things we're dealing with.
ToyDriveForPineRidge.org is where donations are welcome, and all the details can be found there, as well as the Toy Drive for Pine Ridge Facebook page. Rick Galusha here. He has lined up a lot of performers for today's Pine Ridge special. Who do we have coming up next on Pacific Street Blues?
Well, the one thing I want to say before we move too quickly is the Rex Granite brand has a brand new record out. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's called The Electric Combo. And so we want to say thank you to Sarah and the band for playing.
River Tinsley Alice performing here on this very special edition of Pacific Street Blues. It's a special edition for multiple reasons. One, it's our Toy Drive for Pine Ridge Propane Fund radio special that we do every year. And this year it is a simulcast, live stream, and radio show. So yes, you can get us on the 89.7 The River signal. You can also get us on the Live from Mars House Facebook and YouTube pages. If you would like a visual to go with the audio, and Rick Galusha has a lot of great performers lined up yet today, and we're here with Lash LaRue. My name's Corey from the Amplified Afternoon Show. Lash LaRue is the man who started Toy Drive for Pine Ridge so many years ago, and Rick Galusha is standing by as well. I just had a question from actually one of my friends, and it's a good question, I think, for people to know. The website is toydriveforpineridge.org, and we're talking about the need for propane on the reservation, because the residents there use it to heat their homes and they use it to cook with. And we are talking about the poorest county in the United States. But the question was, because if you go to toydriveforpineridge.org and, if somebody wants to make a donation, there is the general fund or there's the heat fund. And is there a difference between those two?
Well, yeah, and there's also a little message area where you can, if you really just want your money to go to toys, you can specify that in the message. But at this point, the toy delivery is done for this year, and so really everything that we're raising now is for the propane fund.
Okay, so either way, it would go towards propane.
Right at this
Okay.
point, correct.
So at this point, it doesn't make a difference, which one you click. Do you have any thank yous at all?
I got a ton of thank yous here. A lot of people visiting the website this morning. Thanks to the folks out there at Rolling Acres Farm. I live out in the country. Our place is called Breezy Acres. So from one acres to another, thank you. Let's see here. Julie visited the website. Thanks, Julie. I'm just pulling them up here. Dorothy. Thank you, Dorothy. And who else did we got here? Oh, another one from Dorothy. Thank you twice, Dorothy. And Julie, thank you so much. And just coming in now, looks like Elizabeth. Thank you for visiting the website. You guys are making, and Virginia just popping in right now. So big thanks to all of you. Glad you joined us this morning and decided to help out a little bit.
And a big thanks to Rick Galusha, who has been on the air now for 30 years here in the Metro with Pacific Street Blues. Rick, do you recall how many years ago you teamed up with Lash LaRue for Toy Drive for Pine Ridge?
Oh, so we've been working with Lash for 15 years now.
Okay. And today we put together something a little bit different because of COVID-19. That's obviously changed the entire world, and it's changed the way that we're doing things here today as well. In the past few years, we had a live concert with lots of musicians and artists and bands coming into one building, and today that's obviously not the case. We're trying to keep things as safe as possible. So all the performers that you see, they have basically zoomed in. They're all at their own place, and they're performing, and Rick has lined all this up, and because of platforms like 89.7 The River and the Live from Mars House Facebook and YouTube pages, we're able to make this happen. Rick, who do we have lined up to perform next here on Pacific Street Blues?
Well, coming up next, we've got a spectacular artist out of Lincoln, Nebraska. It's a guy named Dave Steen, and he recently did a solo record, but usually what Dave is known for is writing songs for other well-known blues artists. So Dave's songs, and again, Dave's just a guy from Lincoln, Nebraska, like we're just folks from Omaha. He's written songs for legendary blues figures like Solomon Burke and Junior Wells, Sun Seals, Eric Burden from the Animals, Maria Moldauer, Coco Montoya, and a lot more than that. So Dave has really gone above and beyond with his career and had a really national presence for Lincoln, Nebraska on the blues scene. On this track, he's going to do a very famous song by Big Bill Broonzy. It's called Key to the Highway. And this is kind of a blues standard song that's been recorded by every band from the Rolling Stones to Eric Clapton. And so let's hear and watch music from Dave Steen right here on Pacific Street Blues.
I got the key to the highway. Been out and bound to go. I'm gonna leave here running. Water's moving too slow. I'm going back to the border. Woman, where I'm better known. You know you ain't done nothing but drive a good man from his home. And when the moon peeks over the mountain, honey, I'll be on my way. I'm gonna roam this old highway till my dying day. Don't give me one more kiss, darling. Honey, just before I go. 'Cause when I leave this time, I won't be back no more.
walking moves too slow. Give to the Pine Ridge Reservation. It'll make you feel good.
89.7 The River. There's Dave Steen, Key to the Highway, Pacific Street Blues, our very special edition. It's a simulcast live stream radio show. It's the 30th anniversary of Pacific Street Blues, and it's for Toy Drive for Pine Ridge, and specifically this year the Propane Fund. And my name's Corey, host of the Amplified Afternoon Show on 89.7 The River. Rick Galusha is zooming in, and Lash LaRue here.
Good morning.
The man who started Toy Drive for Pine Ridge. You said Dave, who just performs, a big supporter, right?
I just wanted to give another shout out to Dave, because not only does Dave help us out with some music, Dave has been a good friend to the Toy Drive for a lot of years, and thank you, Dave. We love you, man. And I want to say thanks to Jason and Joseph and Stephen for visiting the website here just recently. And
again, the website is toydriveforpineridge.org. That's where donations are welcome for the Propane Fund. Propane is needed on the reservation to heat the homes during the winter months and to cook with as well. We are talking about the poorest county in the United States when we're talking about the Pine Ridge Lakota Sioux Reservation. So toydriveforpineridge.org.
And just to give you a little bit of an idea of what it takes, I typically, when I get a call, somebody needs some propane, we'll buy about $300 worth of propane for them. Mm-hmm. And that will take the household, depending on how their insulation is, how cold it is, but that's roughly about a month's worth. Okay. And so that gives you a little bit of an idea of what it takes to keep some people warm.
And normally, like, how late into the year are you still fulfilling propane orders? Like, what month are we talking about when it usually tapers off?
I'm usually going into April.
Okay.
And again, depending on the year and the weather, but it's not too crazy to be doing it in April.
And it's mid-December now, so a long way to go.
We've got the worst of the winter still coming. Yeah. Definitely.
toydriveforpineridge.org. That's again the website. Rick Galusha, where are you?
I'm glad you asked. Some people may wonder, because of COVID, the show needed to move from the studio to home. So this is my basement. And if you've been doing a radio program for 30 years, and as many of you know, I worked at Homer's for 24 years, you kind of develop a little bit of a music collection, or as my wife would say, a bad habit. And so this is the vault. This is the basement. Some people have a wine cellar. We have a music cellar. And that's where I'm sitting.
That's kind of what it looks like.
Rick, I have to. In COVID times, you hear a lot of stories with having to zoom in and out, and I'm just really happy to see that you're wearing pants.
This could be a first on 30 years of Pacific Street Blues. Rick Galusha is actually hosting with pants. And that, he had to get gussied up because it is Rick Galusha Day, after all, as determined by the mayor of Council Bluffs. Rick, who do we have lined up to perform next year on this very special edition of Pacific Street Blues on 89.7 The River?
Well, there's what we tried to do this year is we tried to incorporate a lot of people that had maybe been overlooked in the past. So we went out and tried to solicit offers of participation to people that had not been asked in the past. And this is one of the artists that I'd known about for quite some time, but hadn't had an opportunity to work with. This song, which is Another Winter, was recorded last night by an artist that did appear here live at Mars House. His name is Jeremy Mercer. And I'm going to see this for the first time. And so I'm very excited. New music from Jeremy Mercer, Another Winter, right here.
Okay, this is called Another Winter. Winter.
Somewhere, like down in the sand.
chest and all your school debt. And it's a job that works so hard to break in me. Fill our bags with regrets, bottles, pills, and all the rest. Then we'll drive all night, no baby, man. See, I can't do another winter here in Omaha. It's time to go somewhere, lie down in the sand. South Carolina, Louisiana, anywhere we can start again. I just can't stand to see this summer end. Summer end. I'm looking at you, looking down at your shoes. You think we let too much of this life get away. All I'm asking you to do is to follow after me, because we'll never be younger than we are today. I can't do another winter here alone. It's time to go somewhere and lie down in the sand. South Carolina, Louisiana, anywhere we can start again. I just can't stand to see this summer end. South Carolina or California, I don't care, anywhere we can start again. I just can't stand to see this summer end. I just can't stand to see this summer end.
89.7 The River, there is Omaha's own Jeremy Mercy on Pacific Street Blues, Toy Drive for Pine Ridge, simulcast live stream and radio show. One of my favorite musicians here in the area and an all-around great guy. And like Rick said in the intro, yeah, he and his band performed on the Live from Mars House Facebook and YouTube pages just last night. I was watching the show while I was eating dinner, in fact. We are on the radio on 89.7 The River today. We're also on the Live from Mars House Facebook and YouTube pages. And we're here for the Pacific Street Blues Toy Drive for Pine Ridge special, which we do every single year. This year the focus is on propane. The toys have been delivered to Pine Ridge just a few days ago, so lots of kids are happy because of your donations that came in on that. ToyDriveForPineRidge.org is the website. I'm Corey from Amplified Afternoons on the River, here with Lash LaRue and Rick Galusha zooming in as well from his basement, which looks a lot like a record store. And I just got a message from one of my friends who made a donation, Elizabeth, which you thanked earlier. And she's, here's what she said. She said, "Everyone should be as comfortable and warm as we get to be. Wish I could give more." And, that is a really strong message, because we do take things for granted, like just being warm.
Right, definitely. And let me, I'm glad that you wish you could give more, but it's one of the things that I love so much about what we do. This started with just a few musicians trying to get some toys. We don't get any big grants. We don't do anything like that. This basically started with people giving a toy or $10. It's so grassroots, and it's so the community coming together. Just give them what little bit that they can to help out. And I love that about this. I love, it's one of the things that I miss the most this year is interacting with all the people when they're bringing toys or when they're coming to the shows or whatever. That's something I really miss. I can't wait till next year, but I love that. So you gave what you could.
Yeah, and thank you for that, because this is just a perfect example every year. Is when we all come together and do a little, we can make a lot happen.
Exactly.
Toy Drive for Pine Ridge.
You said it much better than I did.
ToyDriveForPineRidge.org is where donations are available for the Pine Ridge Propane Fund. We've got an excellent show lined up for you today. We're about an hour deep in this 3-hour broadcast, and Rick, live from his basement, has made lots of things happen today, and lots of live music happen, even though it's not all on site. It's all actually streamed in from different locations. We're trying to keep this as safe as possible in this COVID year and still try and make a difference. So, Rick, who's lined up next here on this very special edition of Pacific Street Blues on 89.7 The River?
Well, I want to take just a minute to sharpen kind of what you guys are saying, which is what's always impressed me about not only this event, but everything surrounding Lash's Toy Drive is the way the community comes together. The donation of time and effort by the local musicians and area musicians is absolutely awe-inspiring. And whenever I contact musicians, almost always they say yes, and they say yes quickly. And their willingness to give and to participate to make other people's lives better. I mean, that's the goodness of the human spirit. And that's what community is all about. And I think if 2020 has proven anything to us this year, it's the importance of our community. And so I want to give a personal thank you to all the musicians, you guys as well, and Sophia and Brent and Mars, because it's community that changes the world. And this is our chance to participate in that. Our next artist is a guy named Johnny Iguana and the Claudettes. Now, Johnny Iguana is out of the Chicago market, and one of the things that this new format has allowed us to do is reach out to national and international artists and have them participate. And I've been getting quite a few texts and Facebook messages from people over in England and Scotland. So I want to say hello to Rich D and others and thank them for listening. Well, let's hear, this is new music from a band that played the Growler out at 168th and Maple Street, which for those of you who don't know, that's where Brent and Mars took their musical expertise and put it into the retail environment until COVID, of course, made things a bit of a challenge. So we're glad to see them transition into this new format that gives us an opportunity to work so closely with them. So let's hear new music from the Claudettes and Johnny Iguana right here on Pacific Street Blues.
I could
89.7 The River. It is Pacific Street Blues, Toy Drive for Pine Ridge simulcast, Johnny Iguana and the Claudettes. I'm Corey from the Amplified Afternoon Show. Rick Galusha zooming in here with Lash LaRue from Toy Drive for Pine Ridge, where this year the focus is on propane. Toys have been delivered to the children of the reservation, but we've got a long, cold, harsh winter ahead of us for the residents of Pine Ridge, and propane is necessary, really, for them to stay warm during the winter. They use it for cooking, and in a lot of cases, it literally can be the difference between life and death for them, because we are talking about the poorest community, the poorest county in the United States. We are on the radio today on 89.7 The River. We're also on several Facebook pages, the Live from Mars House Facebook and YouTube pages, and a big shout out to others carrying it, the OEAA Facebook page, Old Market Omaha, and the Reader, just to name a few. ToyDriveForPineRidge.org is the website where donations are available for the propane fund. Do you have any thank yous that have rolled in?
Oh, golly, I've got a ton of thank yous. Glenda just came through. Glenn, thank you. Let's see, David, thank you, David. Thank you, Cheryl. If I miss somebody, I'm sorry. You have my thanks, trust me. Mark, thank you so much. Let's see, Christine, thank you. On and on and on. JR, thanks, buddy. I know this guy. Let's see. Doug, thank you, Doug. I could go on and on. It's been the website's been getting a lot of traffic this morning, which is great, which is why we're here.
Yeah, here's a great example of the community coming together to help out, especially in a very tough year. Rick Galusha standing by, zooming in from his basement. Who do we have lined up next?
Well, one of the great founders of the classic rock interpretation of the blues was a guy named Robert Johnson. And of course, Robert Johnson died back in the 1930s. But in the 1940s and 50s, they began to unearth his 78 RPMs, and they put together an album which was called King of the Delta Blues. And this album would go on to be massively influential on bands like Led Zeppelin, Eric Clapton and the Yardbirds, and the Rolling Stones. So when we look at the classic rock era, there is probably no more influential figure than Robert Johnson. These next two songs, one performed by Devin Fulton, which is Kind-Hearted Woman, and also by Omaha's own Andrew Bailey, which is Love in Vain. Now, those are both songs covered by Robert Johnson, and we're going to hear them and watch them right here on Pacific Street Blues.
Got a kind-hearted woman doing a thing that's well for me. Got a kind-hearted woman doing a thing that's well for me. But these evil-hearted women's, oh, they will not let me be. I love my baby don't love me. I love my baby don't love me. And I really love that woman, can't stand to leave her be. Ain't but just the one thing that Mr. Johnson drank. Worried about how you treat me, baby, and I began to think, oh, baby, my life don't feel the same. You break my heart when you call me Mr. So-and-so's name. I got a kind-hearted woman, studies evil all the time. I got a kind-hearted woman, she studies evil all the time. U.S. to to kill me, just to have it on your mind.
Well, I followed her to the station, suitcase in my hand, and I followed her to the station, suitcase in my hand. You know it's hard to tell when all your love's in vain, all my love's in vain. When that train go to the station, I look her in the eye. When that train go to the station, look her in the eye. You know, feel so lonesome, could not help but cry. All my love's in vain. Oh, Willie Mae, singing, oh, my love's in vain. Singing, oh, my love's in vain. Oh, my love's in vain. When that train left the station now, there's two lights on behind. When that train left the station, two lights on behind. You know the blue light was my blues, the red light was my mind. All my love's in vain. Singing, oh, my love. Oh, my love's in vain. Singing, oh, my love's in vain. Singing, oh, my love's in vain. Oh, my love's in vain.
89.7 The River. It is Pacific Street Blues, Toy Drive for Pine Ridge simulcast. I'm Corey from Amplified Afternoons, Lash LaRue from Toy Drive for Pine Ridge here, as well as your host for 30 years of Pacific Street Blues, Rick Galusha, zooming in. And you just heard Andrew Bailey and previous to that, Devin Fulton, both performing songs. All the musicians today have been scheduled by Rick Galusha, and they are all zooming or live streaming in as we're trying to make this year's edition of the Pacific Street Blues Toy Drive for Pine Ridge special as safe as possible during this COVID year. ToyDriveForPineRidge.org is the website where donations are welcome for the propane fund, so we can help keep the residents of the Pine Ridge Lakota Sioux Reservation warm this winter, so they have something to cook with. And it's a long, harsh, cold winter ahead. Lash, I know we were talking before, you're still usually taking propane orders well into April most of the time.
Definitely,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so we've got a number of months to go, and again, ToyDriveForPineRidge.org is where you can help out if you are interested in doing so.
Cindy was just there helping us out, and Eric was just there helping us out, so thank you so much. Every little bit makes a difference, it all adds up to a tank of propane, so thank you very much.
Rick Galusha, he is cozy in his basement, which looks a lot like a record store. And I gotta say, I can't speak for Lash, but I'm a radio guy. I'm kind of camera awkward. But Rick, I think you got the better end of the deal. You're looking quite cozy there, and you look like you've done this TV thing before.
You know, I'm as cozy as I could be. It got a little chilly, so I put my sweatshirt on. But I am loving the fact that I'm still in my slippers. I don't know if you can tell. So
well, we didn't know until you just told us.
I don't know.
That.
I have a face for radio, I know, but it's kind of fun to do it on video. So I'm here with my newspaper and my coffee, listening to the show and enjoying it thoroughly. You guys are doing such a good job, and it's great to be a part of this 30th anniversary show. Every once in a while, you meet someone, a traveling musician, and it just clicks, and they feel like they're a sibling of yours or a dear friend. And Deanna Bogart is one of those people where when I call her and talk, the conversation goes for 75 minutes, and we haven't even started the interview yet. So she's a very wonderful person, and I'm so pleased that we get to see her perform today in the show. She's going to do a terrific song by Ray Charles. I'm sure this is an emotion we can all connect with for 2020. It's Hard Times by Deanna Bogart.
Hi, I'm Deanna Bogart, and I'm here to be part of the Toy Drive. I know it's been a lot of hard times, and we're going to be okay. We're going to be through it, and, well, it's always not going to be this way. Someone told me before she passed away, said, hon, when I'm gone, don't forget to pray, 'cause there'll be hard times. Hard times. Who knows better than I? Well, I soon found out just what you meant when I had to pawn my things just to pay my rent. Talking about hard times. Hard times. Who knows better than I? My money, he put me down, talking about hard times, hard times. Who knows better than I? Oh, one of these days, there'll be more sorrow, no more when I pass away, and no more hard times, hard times. Who knows better than I?
89.7 The River, Pacific Street Blues, Toy Drive for Pine Ridge, simulcast, live stream, and radio show. Deanna Bogart with Hard Times. Zoomed in, as all the musicians are, keeping this COVID-19 as safe as possible and still coming together to help out the residents of the Pine Ridge Lakota Sioux Reservation. Yes, we are on 89.7 The River, and if you want a visual to go with the audio, on the Live from Mars House Facebook and YouTube pages. And I'm here with Lash LaRue from Toy Drive for Pine Ridge. We've got Rick Galusha zoomed in from his record shop basement. And we're here because of propane and the need for it on the Pine Ridge Reservation. We talked about a little bit earlier, but maybe for those who weren't listening before, what the living conditions are like on Pine Ridge. Give some, because most of us have never been there. You've been there a number of times over the years. Kind of paint a picture for us, if you could, Lash, as to what the living conditions are like on the reservation, and why propane is important.
Pretty rough. A lot of people living in trailers, old FEMA trailers, not well insulated at all. If you've ever stayed in a trailer house, not a lot of insulation. There was one year that I drove up to visit, and visited with a guy that I know there in the wintertime. There was frost on the inside walls, inside the house.
I mean, these are things that most of us, we don't deal with. We don't have to, we just take for granted. We wake up every morning, we've got a warm house, and it's not the same picture on the Pine Ridge Reservation. It is the poorest community in the United States.
It is, and yeah, I have never lived in a place that had frost on the inside of the walls.
I have not either.
You know, one thing that we do a little bit also, there are some people with no propane even, with no propane tank, and wood stoves. And so we do buy a little bit of firewood for people as well. There was, just to give you another example, there was a family I was visiting in the summertime in their trailer home. You know, it's a little couch and some chairs and a table. And after the wintertime, when I was back there in the springtime, stopped to visit the same people. There was no furniture in the home because they had broken it up and burned it to stay warm.
Oh no!
That's a pretty stark picture of the circumstances.
Well, yeah, and when you're talking about that, it paints the picture in your head that for those who do have propane tanks, that would be like a luxury on the Pine Ridge Reservation. Right. So toydriveforpineridge.org. Donations are certainly welcome there. We thank everyone so far who has logged onto the website and helped out. That's what this is all about. We can all come together, do a little, and make a big impact. Rick Galusha, host of Pacific Street Blues for now 30 years, and happy Rick Galusha Day. Who do we have lined up?
You know, you make me laugh and you make me blush every time you bring that up, but I do appreciate it.
It's the first. It's got to be mentioned.
Andrew Bailey has a CD that came out recently, and so we do try to play the local music. In this set of music, we're going to do two in a row. We're going to hear from the Swamp Boy Blues Band featuring Tim Kaine and Sandra Clark. They're going to do the old Elmore James track, "It Hurts Me Too," and of course, this is a blues standard. You probably, most of us know it from either Eric Clapton or I think Stevie Ray Vaughan. But we're also going to hear from the Tim Buddig Band. Tim's out of Lincoln, and he's going to do the old, Simeboy Williamson track, I think is, Otis Rush track, originally written by Willie Dixon, called "I Can't Quit You, Baby," which was made famous by Led Zeppelin. So let's hear two in a row from some of our local friends, Swamp Boy Blues Band and Tim Buddig, for you, right here on Pacific Street Blues.
You said you were hurting, almost lost your mind. The man that you love, he hurts you all the time.
When things go wrong with you, it hurts me too. You love her more when you should love her less. Oh, I put love behind her and I clean up their mess. When things go wrong with you, it hurts me too.
Love another woman, and I love you, but you love him, and you stick to him like glue.
When things go wrong won't stand to see you pushed around when things go wrong with you. It hurts me too.
You, baby. But I gotta put you down for a while. I can't quit you, baby. But I gotta put you down for a while. Messed up my happy home, made me mistreat my only child. You know I love you. My love for you I could never ever hide. You know I love you. My love for you I could never ever hide. When you hear me holler, you know you're my desire. Now when you hear me moaning and groaning, baby, you know it hurts me deep down inside. When you hear me moaning and groaning, oh, you know it hurts me deep down inside. When you hear me holler, you know you're my desire. Hey.
Pacific Street Blues Toy Drive for Pine Ridge simulcast here on 89.7 The River. And the live stream can be viewed on the Live from Mars House Facebook and YouTube pages. You just heard Tim Buddig, and before that, Swamp Boy Blues Band, and we want to put out the best of wishes to Sandra's husband, Sandra from Swamp Boy Blues Band. We understand that he came down with COVID, so best wishes to him. And we appreciate your listenership, your viewership this morning, and all the individuals who have decided to come together and make a donation, of which they are available at toydriveforpineridge.org. We're here today because of the propane fund for the Pine Ridge Lakota Sioux Reservation. I'm Corey from the Amplified Afternoon Show on 89.7 The River. I'm here with Lash LaRue, the man behind Toy Drive for Pine Ridge, and we have your host of Pacific Street Blues for 30 years in the Metro, Rick Galusha, zoomed in from his basement. Lash, can you talk about, I think Rick said earlier that the Toy Drive for Pine Ridge has been partnered up with Pacific Street Blues for about 15 years. Can you talk about how that relationship initially started?
Yeah, I got a call from this weird dude I didn't know named Rick Galusha. I don't think we had ever met before, and he just called me up out of the blue and said, "Hey, I do this radio show. Do you want to try to do something with the Toy Drive?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. That sounds like fun." And so we started. In those days we'd be in the studios at 89.7, and we would just bring in musicians to the studio, and it was this crazy morning. Where we'd have musicians sleeping on the couches in the lobby, and it was just awesome. I just have so many great memories of those days, and then it it seems like every year Rick had a crazier idea. Well, we should do this. Well, oh, that'll never work. Okay, and it worked, and then a few years ago, well, we should do a simulcast, do it live, and that'll never work, Rick, and it worked. And so he's our idea man, and just makes it work. And I can't imagine doing it. I can't imagine not doing it anymore, doing this radio show.
Yeah, and of course COVID has forced us to switch things up a bit this year, but so far so good. Thank you so much to Brent and Mars from the Live at Mars House Facebook and YouTube pages for providing this platform where we can do this as safely as possible. Thank you so much to 89.7 The River and Iowa Western Community College and Sophia John. Rick, for those just tuning in, today is Rick Galusha Day. It's the first annual, this is as determined by Council Bluffs, the city of Council Bluffs, the mayor of Council Bluffs. But you don't just get your own day for not doing anything. You've got a long history with the blues community here in the Omaha metro area. Rick, can you talk about how long you've been involved with the blues community and on what capacity?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know the timeline exactly, but we started Pacific Street Blues back over there on 87th and Pacific Street, oddly enough, hence you now know where the name came from. And a few years after that, Greg Lindbergh and Terry O'Halloran and other folks, Billy McKenna, began the Blues Society of Omaha, which they've done an exceptional job with that. I think Mark is the president today. And I do want to say this is Glenn Bauer, is the vice president of the Blues Society. He is the occasional host of Pacific Street Blues. And I really shout out to Glenn, because I couldn't have kept it together if he wasn't able to step in and fill in for me from time to time. And he's been a true lifesaver for the show. And I want to acknowledge his contributions. But we've tried to be a part of the blues community. We've done shows. We've set up festivals. And Larry, I just got to tell you, wait till you hear what I have in store for next year.
Oh, God.
Can we just get today over with first?
Yeah, let me get through this year, Rick. And you know what? When you tell me what it is, I'll say, "Oh God," and then somehow it's going to work out again and be better than ever. That's your track record. I also want to say thanks to the Blues Society of Omaha, huge supporters of the Toy Drive over the years, just amazing, and I've missed seeing you all this year too. But next year we're going to do it up really well.
At toydriveforpineridge.org. That is the website where donations are welcome for the propane fund for the residents of the Pine Ridge Lakota Sioux Reservation. Rick, who do we have lined up next year on Pacific Street Blues on 89.7 The River?
Well, these next two artists that we have lined up are both out of the Chicago, Illinois market, which is, of course, the home of the electric blues. And so I would describe Johnny Burgin as kind of the fourth generation of electric blues guitar players out of the Chicago market. And along with Mike Bloomfield, there's a racial component. He's a white guy, but he's steeped in that traditional sort of Chicago sound, which is so wonderful. So it's Johnny Burgin and Johnny Sansone. They're going to do the old Slim Harpo track. Slim Harpo's real name was James Moore, but he changed his name to Slim Harpo because he was such a profound harp player out of the Louisiana market. This is a track called Hip Shake. And like many people, I became familiar with it because it was on the Rolling Stones album, Exile on Main Street. And when I realized that they didn't write it, that it was an actual song that someone had had a hit with decades before, I literally fell out of my chair. So this is a track. It's from the music from the rice growing capital, there we go, of Louisiana, a track by Slim Harpo called Hip Shake, performed by Johnny Burgin and Johnny Sansone.
Greetings from New Orleans. This is Johnny Burgin. I'm here with Johnny Sansone. And we're going to do Hip Shake for you. Let me tell you about a dance that's going around. Everybody's doing it, from the grown-ups down. You have to move your hand, you have to move your feet, you have to move your lips, just shake your hips. Do the hip shake, baby. Do the hip shake, baby. Shake your hips, baby. Shake your hips, baby. Well, if you don't know, don't be afraid. Just listen to me and do what I say. You have to move your hands, you have to move your feet, you have to move your lips, just shake your hips. Do the hip shake, baby. Do the hip shake, baby. Shake your hips, baby. Shake your hips, baby. Ain't that easy? All right.
89.7 The River. You just heard Johnny Burgin and Johnny Sansone doing the hip shake. Pacific Street Blues, Toy Drive for Pine Ridge, simulcast, live stream, and radio show. And if you're a regular Pacific Street Blues listener, you're wondering, who's this guy? I'm Corey, host of the Amplified Afternoon Show on 89.7 The River. Yes, Rick Galusha is here. He's actually zoomed in from his basement. And here with Lash LaRue from Toy Drive for Pine Ridge. For several years now, Pacific Street Blues, Rick Galusha has been teaming up with Lash to try and help out the residents of the Pine Ridge Lakota Sioux Reservation with the toy drive, and the toys have already been delivered this year. Lash took them up there a couple of days ago, and now our focus is on propane to keep the residents of Pine Ridge warm this winter. Remember, it is the poorest community in the United States, and Lash is usually taking propane orders through about April, so we've got a long ways to go here in mid-December. ToyDriveForPineRidge.org is the website where donations are welcome. Any thank yous?
Definitely. Joe was just on the website. Thank you, Joe. Shannon was just there. Stephanie was just there. Beth. Alicia was just there. And let's see, Jody. Thank you, Jody. Tons more. We'll be here all day if I go through all of them, but I just thank you all so much. I do have one really special shout out that I need to do. My daughter, Rosie Dunn, is listening right now, and so I wanted to say hi, Rosie. I needed to say Rosie Dunn specifically in case some of her friends might be listening, so they'd know it was her. Right. So, hi, Rosie. Daddy loves you and misses you, and I'll see you soon. I had another thought I was going to go to. This is I'm not ignoring you if you're watching. I'm so used to the radio show, I keep forgetting about the camera.
Yeah, we are, if you're just tuning in, if you're listening on 89.7 The River, thank you so much. If you do want an awkward visual from Lash LaRue and I, because we are we're not used to cameras, we're radio people, then the Live from Mars House Facebook page and YouTube page is carrying the live stream if you'd like to see us. Rick Galusha looks much more natural on camera than you and I do, I think.
Very much more. Every once in a while I look up and see the screen and go, oh, I'm standing like a dork. I need to try to look like a little
couple
cooler.
Of radio bandits.
ToyDriveForPineRidge.org, that's where donations are welcome. Rick, who do we have lined up to perform for us next on this very special edition of Pacific Street Blues on 89.7 The River?
Well, we've got two in a row from some of my favorite local artists. Of course, all the local artists are my favorites because they've always been so cooperative with us and the community. I got to share this little story because we were talking about the foundation of the Blues Society. And there we were all in the Blues Hall over at McKenna's, and Greg Lindbergh gets up to go to the restroom. When Greg comes back, guess what? He's the president of the Blues Society. So never leave a meeting where you could be nominated for something. Just a little bit of lesson there from Greg Lindbergh. Well, we've got two tracks. One is from Bucky McCann. Of course, Bucky has the Krabby Blues Band that plays on the first Tuesday of every month over at Shucks. And he's going to do a track called Black Magic Woman. And most of us associate this song with the band Santana, but in fact, it was a Fleetwood Mac song back when it was called Fleetwood Mac's Blues Band. It was written by a guy named Peter Greenbaum, a Jewish kid from London. And he went on and he passed that heritage on to Rory Gallagher, which ends up with Joe Bonamassa. So if you're wondering what is the connection between Fleetwood Mac's Landslide and Joe Bonamassa, now you know the rest of the story. Also, we're going to hear from Saline and Soup, which features Elwyn James, Craig Balderston, and Gunnar Gannett. And they're going to do a Grateful Dead track. Big surprise there from those guys. It's a track called Broke Down for us right here on Pacific Street Blues.
Got a black magic woman
got a black magic woman, got me so blind I can't see that she's a black magic woman trying to make a devil out of me. Turn your back on me, baby. Turn your back on me, baby. Yes, now turn your back on me, baby. Stop messing around with your tricks. Don't turn your back on me, baby. You just might pick up my magic tricks. Got your spell on me, baby. You got your spell on me, baby. Yeah, you got your spell on me, baby. Turning my heart into stone. I need you so bad, magic woman. I can't leave you alone.
myself. Couldn't get no help from nobody else. Thought I'd call the hotline, baby, but there was nobody there. But then I heard somebody calling my name, saying ain't no need to be ashamed, 'cause I found out that the door was always open. Now I was down in my mind, prisoner of my own design. I was lost in a world of confusion, and I was down all by myself. Couldn't get no help from nobody else. I thought I'd call the hotline, baby, but you know there wasn't nobody there. And then I heard somebody calling my name, saying ain't no need to be ashamed, 'cause I found out that the door was always open. calling my name, saying ain't no need to be ashamed. 'Cause I found out that the door was always open. Lord, I heard somebody calling my name, saying ain't no need to be ashamed. 'Cause I found out that the door was always open. Yeah, I know I found out that the door was always open. Yeah, I found out that the door was always open.
It's gonna write.
89.7 The River, there's Sailing in Soup, a Grateful Dead cover, and before that, Bucky McCann doing a Fleetwood Mac tune. You're listening to Pacific Street Blues, a very special edition for Toy Drive for Pine Ridge. This is a simulcast live stream and radio show. Yes, we're on 89.7 The River. We're also on Facebook and YouTube on the Live from Mars House pages. I'm Corey, host of Amplified Afternoons on 89.7 The River, here with Lash LaRue, the man behind Toy Drive for Pine Ridge, and Rick Galusha, your host of Pacific Street Blues for 30 years in the Metro, zooming in from his basement. We're here to help keep the residents of Pine Ridge warm this winter, and propane is how we do that. The website where donations are welcome is toydriveforpineridge.org. Toydriveforpineridge.org. Who are we thanking, Lash?
Mark just visited toydriveforpineridge.org, and thank you so much, Mark. Very, very generous. Susan, Eric, thank you so much. Just between those three right there, we got two families that'll have heat for a month.
Thank you.
That's an amazing thing. So.
And we're going to turn it over to Rick Galusha now. Who do we have coming up next on this special edition of Pacific Street Blues here on 89.7 The River?
Well, coming up next is an old friend of mine. It's kind of interesting. The week before my oldest son was born, my wife and I went down to the old music hall to see the Neville Brothers, and there was an opening act by a guy named Bob Malone. And we really enjoyed Bob and got to speak to him for just a few minutes. And then about 6 months later, a while later, we're in Oakland to see a Bruce Springsteen show. And as we walk out of the show in California, there's Bob. Well, it soon became a friendship. He's been here numerous times. And for about the last 15 or 17 years, he's been the keyboard player in John Fogerty's band from Creedence Clearwater Revival. Bob has got a new album coming out, but this is an older one for him. And he's going to do a song by Muddy Waters called She Moves Me, which is later made famous for many of us by Paul Rodgers, who was the lead singer for numerous bands, including Free, Bad Company, The Firm, and for a brief stint with Queen. Let's hear music from Bob Malone right here on Pacific Street Blues.
1, 2, 3, 4. She moves, man. And honey, I don't see how it's done. She got a pocket full of money. Little girl don't wanna help me none. She get drunk, say I'm not nowhere, call me a dumbbell, say I'm nothing but a square when she loves a man. And honey, I don't see how it's done. She got a pocket for the money. Little girl don't wanna help me none. say I'm not so dumb. Take her to a funeral, boy. Dare to jump up and run. See a deaf, dumb, and blind boy. Said now I can speak. Shook a finger in a blind man's face. Once I was blind, but now I see what she was, the man. And honey, I don't see how it's done. She got a pocket full of money. Little girl don't wanna help me none. Yeah.
89.7 The River, there's Bob Malone performing here on this very special edition of Pacific Street Blues. It's the Toy Drive for Pine Ridge simulcast, live stream, and radio show on the 89.7 The River signal, as well as the Live from Mars House Facebook and YouTube pages. And we're here for the propane fund for Toy Drive for Pine Ridge. ToyDriveForPineRidge.org. Donations welcome there to help keep the residents of the Pine Ridge Lakota Sioux Reservation warm this winter. Lash told a story about an hour or so ago. If you weren't listening, it broke my heart. I mean, I asked him to kind of paint a picture of what living conditions are like on the Pine Ridge Reservation, and he told a story about one family had to basically decide, do we have a place to sit in our home, or do we burn our furniture to stay warm?
Yeah, and they burned it.
That's reality for some of the residents of Pine Ridge, the poorest county in the United States. And for a number of years now, Lash has been not only delivering toys to the children of Pine Ridge, but also he started the propane fund. And this is the guy right here that on his lunch break at work during the winter months, he's taking propane orders and making sure that he can keep as many people warm and quite honestly alive on the Pine Ridge Reservation every winter as possible. So your help is certainly appreciated. Donations are welcome at toydriveforpineridge.org. Any new thank yous that have come in?
Yeah, John was just on the website, so thank you to John. I want to say thank you to Nino, and also a big thank you. Oh, I hit the wrong one. That was Nino again. Thank you twice, Nino. Steve, thanks, Steve, so much. Susan, thank you. Eric, thank you. Tons of them. I would thank you all personally if I could.
ToyDriveForPineRidge.org is the website. Rick Galusha zooming in from his basement. 30 years on the air with Pacific Street Blues. And who's lined up for us next, Rick?
Well, we've got a special kind of two in a row again lined up. And I just want to take a second and say the listeners of Pacific Street Blues have, for the last 15 or so years, been very supportive of this program. And it's nice to see people really dipping into their sense of community and coming on strong. So we're looking forward to people and helping us with this project. These next two songs include some real rapscallions, if you will. Year after year, Lash and I are good friends with a guy named Michael Campbell. And to get Michael Campbell to do a song over the last few years has been pretty impossible. And Michael, of course, knows that I'm teasing him, but I'm going to use this platform to get away with it because he can't say anything back. We're going to start off with Jason Bernsteel from the Nines and JR from High Heel and the Sneakers. They're going to do a song most of us are going to recognize from Van Halen. It's called Ice Cream Man. And it's a double entendre, much like Red Rooster was earlier in the show. It was recorded by a guy named John Brim on the Chess recording label. And what makes it interesting is John's wife was the drummer. And not only was she the drummer, but she stood up while she played the drums, which is pretty unique and original. The next song is Michael and Laurel Campbell, and they're going to do the old Buck Owens track, Act Naturally, which, of course, Ringo Starr sang with the Beatles. And if we take a look at the influence of American country music on those early rock performers, it was significant. For example, the Rolling Stones covered Hank Snow. So let's hear that right now. Music from Jason and JR, Ice Cream Man, Michael and Laura Campbell, and Act Naturally, right here on Pacific Street Blues.
Summertime's here and you need something to keep you cool. Yeah, summertime's here and you need something to keep you cool. Well, hey, little girl, I got something for you. I'm your ice cream man. Stop me when I'm passing by. Well, I'm your ice cream man. Stop me when I'm passing by. You see, all these flavors are guaranteed to satisfy. I got bit up bananas, Dixie cups, all flavors and push-ups too. I'm your ice cream man. Stop me when I'm passing by. You see, all these flavors are guaranteed to satisfy. Yeah. Whoa. One, two, three, four. Yeah. Hey, I'm your ice cream man. I'm your ice cream man. I'm your ice cream man. Oh, I'm your ice cream man. Yes, and all my flavors are guaranteed to satisfy. Woo! Yeah! Yes!
Well, they're gonna put me in movies. They're gonna make a big star out of me. We'll make a film about a man that's sad and lonely, and all I gotta do is act naturally. Well, I'll bet you I'm gonna be a big star. Might win an Oscar, you can't never tell. This movie's gonna make me a big star, 'cause I can play the part so well. I hope you come and see me in the movie. Then I know that you will plainly see the biggest fool to ever hit the big time. And all I gotta do is act naturally. Scene about a man who's sad and lonely, begging down upon his bended knee. Well, I'll play the part, but I don't need rehearsing. All I gotta do is act naturally. Well, I'll bet you I'm gonna be a big star. I might win an Oscar, you can't never tell. This movie's gonna make me a big star, 'cause I can play the part so well. I hope you come and see me in my movie. Then I know that you will plainly see the biggest fool that ever hit the big time. And all I gotta do is act naturally. All I gotta do is act naturally.
You wanna sing? You wanna sing? Ow!
Hi, I'm Shaun Murphy, and you're listening and watching a very special simulcast of the annual Pacific Street Blues simulcast in support of the Toy Drive for the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. As you already know, during this time of COVID, 2020 has been a tough year for all of us. Each year, the Toy Drive raises money for toys and propane for the residents of the Pine Ridge Reservation. And while I hope you're enjoying the show, please consider making a contribution. Anything you can afford to share will help. And I want to take just a second here to congratulate Rick on the 30th anniversary of Pacific Street Blues. That's quite a feat. It's those rare and unique radio programs like you're listening to right now that helps keep the blues alive. So congratulations, Rick, the Blues Society of Omaha, KIWR, and to all of you, the listeners, for being a part of something special. Thank you.
89.7 The River. Thank you, Shaun Murphy. I'm Corey from the Amplified Afternoon Show on 89.7 The River, and this is a very special edition of Pacific Street Blues in support of Toy Drive for Pine Ridge and the Propane Fund. This is a simulcast live stream and radio show. The visual is on the Live from Mars House Facebook and YouTube pages. Before Shaun Murphy, we heard from Michael and Laura Campbell with a cover of Act Naturally. Michael actually used to own, he owned the bar that the very first Toy Drive for Pine Ridge took place at many, many years ago. Mix and Benson and Jason Bernsteel and JR before that with Ice Cream Man. ToyDriveForPineRidge.org is the website where donations are welcome. And the focus today, as the toys have already been delivered to the Pine Ridge Reservation, Lash just took them up there a couple of days ago. So the focus today is the propane, which is another important factor. This is, for some residents of Pine Ridge, this is literally a difference between life and death. They use propane to heat their homes and for cooking. And so ToyDriveForPineRidge.org is the website where donations are welcome. And we appreciate everyone who has helped out today. That's what this is all about. We can all come together and do a little and make a huge impact. Lash LaRue himself is actually getting lined up to perform. He's going to be our only performer today that's in this building where we are at. Everyone else has zoomed in, but since Lash is co-hosting this and he's already here, he's going to perform. And as soon as I get the thumbs up, we're going to turn it over to him as soon as he's ready. In the meantime, again, ToyDriveForPineRidge.org. Rick Galusha is also a part of the show. He is zoomed in from his basement, and we'll be talking to him soon. Here we are on Pacific Street Blues on 89.7 The River. It is Lash LaRue.
Is it me? All right. I am named after my mother. My old man was another child that's grown old. It dreams of lightning, thunder, desire. This old house would have burned down a long time ago. Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing I can hold on to. Believing this living is just a hard way to go. When I was a young girl, I had me a cowboy. It weren't much to look at, just a free rambling man. But that was a long time, and no matter how I tried, years they just roll by like a broken down dam. Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing I can hold on to. Believing this living is just a hard way to go. There's flies in the kitchen, I can hear them there buzzing. I ain't done nothing since I woke up today. How the hell can a person go to work in the morning, come home in the evening and have nothing to say? Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery.
poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing I can hold on to believe in this living is just a hard way to go. To believe in this living is just a hard way to go.
89.7 The River, there is Lash LaRue performing live on Pacific Street Blues, the Toy Drive for Pine Ridge simulcast. Angel from Montgomery and Lash LaRue, not only a longtime musician here in Omaha, but also the man who started Toy Drive for Pine Ridge, which includes now Propane Fund, so many years ago. And we're getting together today because we're having a lot of fun. We're celebrating the 30th anniversary of Pacific Street Blues with Rick Galusha. And also we're getting together because this is just the beginning of a long, cold, harsh winter for the residents of the Pine Ridge Lakota Sioux Reservation, not too far from where we are. Good 5-6 hour drive?
About 8 hours.
About 8 hours.
Yeah.
And it is the poorest community, the poorest county in the entire country. So anything that we can do at toydriveforpineridge.org is certainly going to be appreciated by the residents of Pine Ridge. We're talking about keeping them warm. We're talking about, in some situations, the difference between life and death. So toydriveforpineridge.org, donations are welcome. And Rick, who do we have lined up to go next?
Well, we've got a really special guest star coming up next, but I do want to say many of the musicians, such as this character, Lash LaRue, have albums out that are available to people. So if you hear something you like today, be sure to tell somebody.
Where'd you
And
get that?
can
Did you pay
always,
for that?
Also support the local artists. This next artist is an artist named Kim Richey. And back several decades ago now, her album had come out. It was called Glimmer. And I had fallen in love with the record. And I went down to South by Southwest. And I was walking into my hotel, the Capitol Marriott. And Kim was standing in the lobby. And I thought, oh, my God, what a place to be. And so since then, Kim and I have been in regular contact. She's come to Omaha numerous times. And she's always been very supportive of our program and our efforts. She's going to do a song many of us know from Johnny Cash. It's called Sunday Morning Coming Down. And it has a unique story because it was originally written by a guy named Chris Christopherson, who was a fan of Johnny Cash's. And at the time, Chris was not only a Rhodes Scholar, i.e. a pretty smart guy, but he was the janitor of the recording studio where Johnny Cash was recording. And that's how he met Johnny. And the rest, they say, is history. And so let's hear some music from Kim Richey out of Nashville, Tennessee, and a song called Sunday Morning Coming Down.
Hi there. I wanted to play a song for y'all by one of my favorite songwriters, Chris Christopherson. And he recorded this song on an album of his, but I think people are probably a lot more familiar with the Johnny Cash version. So it's called Sunday Morning Coming Down. I'll play this for you.
Be right
city sidewalk. It's Sunday morning coming down of a sleepy city sidewalk. It's Sunday morning coming down.
89.7 The River, Kim Richey performing Sunday Morning Coming Down here on this very special edition of Pacific Street Blues in honor of the Toy Drive for Pine Ridge and the propane fund that goes with that at toydriveforpineridge.org. I am Corey, host of Amplified Afternoons on 89.7 The River, here with Lash LaRue, the man who started Toy Drive for Pine Ridge years ago, and of course Rick Galusha, your host of Pacific Street Blues for 30 years in the Metro, is with us as well, zooming in from his basement. Lash and I were just talking about while Kim was performing that song and the first time that we each heard that song and how that song just really draws out the emotions.
Definitely. I remember being a little kid hearing that on the turntable at home, and I think it affected the kind of musician I was to become. I want to say hi to Vanessa, thank you. JR, again, thank you. JR just can't stay off the website this morning.
Thank you, JR.
We love you, brother. And let's see here. David, thank you, David. And quite a few more. And, David was on twice, too. So thank you so much. You're making a big difference in people's lives.
Yeah, in many cases, helping people to survive. Any more personal stories you want to share about how important propane is to the residents of Pine Ridge?
I had a call, I think this was 2 years ago now. I had a call from, again, a grandmother with 5 grandkids in the home. And she had walked 2 miles in a snowstorm to a phone to try to get a hold of me to let me know that they're out of propane. And she was crying. Yeah, I get like this. She was crying, worried that her grandkids were going to freeze to death. That's the kind of stuff that you're helping to take care of today.
Yeah, just if we all come together and make, contribute something small, we're making a big difference, and that's what this is all about today. ToyDriveForPineRidge.org is where donations are welcome. There's a Toy Drive for Pine Ridge Facebook page as well. It is literally it's keeping people warm. It's keeping people alive. It is the poorest community in the entire country, the poorest county, Pine Ridge Lakota Sioux Reservation in South Dakota, bordering northern Nebraska. And we're here today with a very special edition of Pacific Street Blues in honor of the Toy Drive for Pine Ridge Propane Fund. But we're also celebrating 30 years on the air with Rick Galusha and Pacific Street Blues. And yes, we're on 89.7 The River. We're also, if you want a visual, on the Live from Mars House Facebook and YouTube pages. And Rick has taken it upon himself this year to make things COVID-19 safe. So all of the musicians that you are watching or listening to this morning are zooming in or piping in from their own places, except for, of course, Lash, who performed a moment ago. Who do we have lined up next, Rick?
Well, we've got a special lineup of music. I just want to say is if you know any of the musicians if any of our listeners or viewers know the area musicians that are performing today, please send them a text or an email and tell them thanks. Let them know you saw it, because I think it's important that they get that positive feedback from their community, that their community cares as well. So this next guy we're going to see is Stan Spurgeon. Stan, of course, is probably best known in Omaha for his band, The Confidentials. He's going to perform a song by Sam Cooke called Laughin' and Clownin'. And then we're also going to hear from a new artist, new to me at least. His name is Topper Booth, and he is filming this video at the Jewel. So if you've not been down to the Jewel yet, you'll get to see what the inside of the venue looks like with this second video. And he's going to do the old Rolling Stone song, You Can't Always Get What You Want, right here on Pacific Street Blues.
just to keep on crying. I'm laughing and a clowning just to keep on crying. I keep on trying, hide the fact I got a worried mind. Being life of the party seems to be my role. Being life of the party seems to be my role. I keep on trying, hide my feelings, try to hide my soul. Let me tell you what I do. I stand in the doorway, watching all the girls go through. Since you left me, baby, I stand in the doorway, watching all the girls go through. I tell you what I do. I keep on trying to find someone to take the place of you. Yeah, tickle the things for me. just to keep on crying. I'm laughing and a clowning just to keep on crying. I keep on trying, hide the fact I got a worried mind. I tell you what I do now. Why stand in the doorway, watching all the girls go through. Since you left me, baby, I tell you, I stand in the doorway, watching all the girls go through. Here we go, fellas. I keep on trying to find someone to take the place of you.
Tell by her bloodstained hands, no, you
what you want. No, you can't always give what you want. No, you can't always give what you want. But you can try sometimes. You just might find you get what you need. You get what you need. You get what you need.
89.7 The River Pacific Street Blues, our Toy Drive for Pine Ridge simulcast special. I'm Corey from the Amplified Afternoon Show on 89.7 The River. I'm here with Lash LaRue from Toy Drive for Pine Ridge, as well as Rick Galusha, zooming in from the basement, celebrating 30 years of broadcasting with Pacific Street Blues. You just heard Toffer Booth, and we're not only on the radio, we're also, you can get a visual on the Live from Mars House Facebook and YouTube pages, and that last performance there, as Rick mentioned, going into this set, was recorded inside of the absolutely gorgeous Jewel, a fairly new venue in downtown Omaha. So you can catch a visual of that. And then before that, we heard Stan Spurgeon from the Confidentials. And we're here today because we're celebrating 30 years of Pacific Street Blues. But also for a number of years, Pacific Street Blues has teamed up with Lash LaRue for Toy Drive for Pine Ridge. And we're raising awareness on the need for propane on the reservation during the cold winter months to help them heat their homes, and they can cook using the propane, and quite honestly, it's survival. ToyDriveForPineRidge.org is the website where donations are welcome, and for all the details, or there's also a Toy Drive for Pine Ridge Facebook page.
Definitely. And like Corey said, we are also, you can see us this time, which is why I was over here. You're supposed to give me one of these when we're going on, because I was. I also want to say a quick thank you to Sophia, the station manager at 89.7 The River, who allows us to do this and puts up with all of our shenanigans once a year, and because none of this is easy to put together or easy to deal with. There's a lot of moving parts, and sometimes I know we could be a pain. So thank you, Sophia.
Yeah, and she's actually running the board. She's making sure that this broadcast gets on the radio today. So an extra thanks to her, and thanks to Iowa Western Community College and 89.7 The River as well. Any more thank yous from donations, or?
Yeah, a ton.
Thank you to everyone. ToyDriveForPineRidge.org is the website, and
Joseph, two Josephs were just on the website, so thank you to both of you. Danny from Saltwater Whiskey Records was on the website. Thanks, Danny. Nancy was there. I think that's it since the last time I talked about it.
All right. Well, we are closing in on the final 20 minutes or so of this. So, Rick, I know we've got some musicians lined up yet. Who is coming up next here on Pacific Street Blues on 89.7 The River?
Well, this next duo here, it's called Aaron and Nathan, and coincidentally, both of their last names are Wolf, although they are not related. We've got a double set of Etta James for you. Now, what's interesting is, if you remember a few years ago, Aaron sang an a cappella version of the Etta James track At Last, which brought the house down. So she and Nathan are going to do the song Tell Mama, which of course was made famous for most of us by Janis Joplin. We've also got Laura Rain and the Caesars. They're out of the Detroit market, and they're going to do the track for us called I'd Rather Go Blind. And just as a footnote, Nathan Wolf's dad was John Wolf, who was in a band with Brent when he began his music career at about 16 years of age in a band called the Modern Day Scenics. So let's hear music from Aaron and Nathan and Laura Rain and the Caesars from Detroit right here on Pacific Street Blues.
Hey there, this is Laura Rain and George Friend from Detroit. Laura Rain and the Caesars. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and Happy New Year to you all. We wish you a safe and healthy holiday season. We're going to do a song for you, okay?
All right.
Something told me it was over when I saw you and her talking. Something deep inside my soul said cry, girl. When I saw you and her walking, I would rather go blind, but then you see you walk away from me. So you see I love you so much that I don't want to watch you walk away, baby. Most of all, I just don't want to be free. I was just sitting here thinking of your kisses and your warm embrace. When the reflection in the glass that you had to my lips now, baby, revealed the tears streaming down on my face. I would rather go blind, but than to see you walk away from me. Ooh, I would rather go blind, but ooh, than to see you walk away from me, child.
.997 The River, Pacific Street Blues, the Toy Drive for Pine Ridge simulcast, a radio special, live stream as well on live from Mars House Facebook page as well as the YouTube page. You just heard Laura Rain and the Caesars, and before that Aaron and Nathan. And a big shout out to our international audience. We have individuals tuning in from all over, Norway, Scotland, England, and Turkey, just to name a handful of places. So thanks to all of those listeners. And as we are now getting close to the end of the broadcast, I want to say thanks and remind you once again of why we're here today. It's to support the propane fund for Toy Drive for Pine Ridge. ToyDriveForPineRidge.org is the website where donations are welcome. The propane helps the residents of Pine Ridge keep warm, helps them survive during the harsh, cold winter months. And even though we're about to wrap up the broadcast, the Toy Drive for Pine Ridge Propane Fund is a year-round effort. So donations are certainly welcome any time of the year at ToyDriveForPineRidge.org. And I just want to thank everybody that made this possible today, including Brent and Mars from Live from Mars House, their Facebook page and their YouTube page. They've been keeping us entertained during the pandemic with live music from lots of local and regional musicians in a safe way. So a big shout out to them. A big shout out as well to Iowa Western Community College, 89.7 The River, and Sophia John. And a big shout out to Rick Galusha for always blowing Lash and I's minds with what he can put together for this radio special, because he's the one that did all the legwork and lined up all the performers and everything. And so just, am I missing anybody on the thank you? Thanks to everyone who donated.
Thanks to everyone who donated, and a big thank you to you. Corey is always, every year, no matter whatever I can do to help. And he's a wonderful host. He helps keep this thing rolling. He's played a lot of the events when we had events before COVID. And I can't say enough about his willingness to help. And he's also... He is the diplomat, so when we're all fighting over how it's going to go, Corey always is the voice of reason and makes everybody happy. I can't imagine doing this without you. Thank you.
I'm happy to be here. You're quite welcome. I also want to say thanks to a lot of other individuals who have shared the live stream today, including The Reader, Old Market Omaha, and OEAAs, just to name a few. We're going to turn it back over to Rick Galusha and get into our next performance.
All right. Well, this next guy, when we put the show together every year, one of the first people I call, he's like a brother to me, is Chris Lager. And Chris Lager recently installed a television studio in his basement for some reason. I have no idea why. But he's going to do a song made famous and written by Willie Dixon called I Just Want to Make Love to You, which when you were in high school, wow, that was a song by Foghat that we all got our tennis rackets out and jumped up and down in front of the mirror to. So let's do some mirror jumping right now with Chris Lager Band for you, right here on Pacific Street Blues.
Clothes. I don't want you to keep our home. I don't want your money too. I just want to make love to you. Love to you. Just want to make love to you. Just got to make love to you. Just want to make love to you, yeah. Switch and walk, yeah, I can know by the way that you baby talk, and I can see by the way that you treat your man that I can love you, baby. So as I cry you shame, I don't want you beat my bread. I don't want you make my bed. I don't want you 'cause I'm sitting
89.7 The River, Pacific Street Blues, Toy Drive for Pine Ridge, simulcast live stream and radio show. I'm Corey, host of Amplified Afternoons on the River, here with Lash LaRue from Toy Drive for Pine Ridge and Rick Galusha, your host for 30 years of Pacific Street Blues. And again, just jumping on real quick here to remind you that we're here for the propane fund for Toy Drive for Pine Ridge. It's toydriveforpineridge.org, where donations are absolutely welcome. And just a thank you to everyone who donated and everybody who has tuned in today, be it the Live from Mars House Facebook page and YouTube page, or on 89.7 The River. On 89.7 The River, we have about, I think, 5 minutes left. I think that this is going to continue just a little bit longer on the live stream, but we're going to turn it over to Rick Galusha right now to introduce our next performer.
Well, during the Vietnam War, there were probably two songs that meant the most to the men and women in uniform at that time. One was by the Animals called "We Gotta Get Out of This Place," and the other one was by a band out of Flint, Michigan, and it was Mark Farner and the Grand Funk Railroad. We have a special version of Mark doing that song, "I'm Your Captain," and he has identified himself as the captain to his fan base, and we appreciate the contribution of Mark Farner. Let's hear some music from Mark Farner right here on Pacific Street Blues.
Hey everybody, it's Mark Farner here. I'm proud to be joining Brother Rick Galusha and KIWR to help raise some funds for our sisters and brothers on the Pine Ridge Reservation. You know they're going to need some propane in them tanks to put some heat in them homes this winter. So thank you for showing up, and thank you for being part with your heart. Let's send this song out to all our sisters and brothers in the military, wherever they are in this big world. I know where they want to be.
I'm your captain, I'm your captain. Oh, I'm feeling mighty sick. I've been lost now, ain't uncounted. And it's months since I've seen home. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Or am I all alone? If you return me to my home port, and gonna kiss you, Mother Earth. Take me back now, or take me back now to the port of my birth. Am I in my cabin dreaming, or are you really scheming to take my ship away from me? You better think about it. I just can't live without it. So please don't take my ship from me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. God bless y'all.
I've got all of this time, and I've got nothing to write. No, I feel so stuck here. I'm all alone with my thoughts, staring out of the glass. I wanna see you, dear. And I know there's no way to get over if I don't abide by the rules. wait, then the world won't get better. And I can't tell you any other way. No, 'cause we're stuck for not much longer. If we don't stay in, then the world won't get stronger. And I will see you soon, but I can't wait. No, I can't wait. No, I can't wait. I know that it's hard, 'cause I feel it too. When all that I want and I dream about is you. And I have those days that blend into one, when night becomes day and day is no longer fun. But I will get through, and so can you, so can. 'Cause we're stuck in this together. If we don't wait, then the world won't get better. And I can't tell you any other way. No, 'cause we're stuck for not much longer. If we don't stay in, then the world won't get stronger. And I will see you soon, but I can't wait. No, I can't. And I have those days that blend into one, when night becomes day and day is no longer fun. I will get through, and so can you, so can. 'Cause we're stuck in this together. If we don't wait, then the world won't get better. And I can't tell you any other way. No, 'cause we're stuck for not much longer. If we don't stay in, then the world won't get stronger. And I will see you soon, but I can't wait. No, I can't wait.
.89.7 The River, Pacific Street Blues, Toy Drive for Pine Ridge, simulcast live stream radio show. It's Corey from Amplified Afternoons here with Lash LaRue. Rick Galusha getting cozy in his basement. Hello, sir.
Hey, how are you guys?
Who did we just hear? Let everybody know.
We just heard a keyboard player named Andrew Price. Now, Andrew Price came to Omaha a while ago as a part of the Aynsley Lister band at one of these Playing with Fire shows. And Andrew also plays for a band that some of the listeners may know that goes by the name The Beautiful South, or just The South today. So he's a guy, a highly touted musician in England, and a terrific song there, an original composition about the COVID period, and we're stuck in this together, which was a very nice track from him. We're going to continue on until 1 o'clock Central Time with our broadcast today, playing some songs that were played earlier in the show. And again, doing the things that Corey and Lash do so well. What do you guys do so well at a simulcast? You tell people to do what?
Well, donations is what it is all about today, because we're trying to help out the people of the poorest county in the United States, which is the Pine Ridge Lakota Sioux Reservation. So toydriveforpineridge.org is the website, and donations are absolutely welcome and appreciated, because then what Lash does with those donations is he turns that into propane that the residents of Pine Ridge can use to keep warm, to cook with, and in all honesty, to survive. It is the difference between life and death for some of the residents of Pine Ridge. So
Definitely. Debbie and Mike have just been to the website. Roy was just there. Thank you so much. You guys are making a difference in someone's life. Let's see. William was just there. Thank you, William. And that's not just for the show. That goes on year-round. You can go to the website, toydriveforpineridge.org, at any time and help out if you feel like it. And that's what we're here for today. I think we're off the radio now. I think we're just live streamed, so we can start cussing. No, we won't.
There's another. Obviously, there's a schedule on radio stations. There's another show that is on the air now, but. If you're checking us out now, you already know that, because you're on the Live from Mars House Facebook and YouTube page, or perhaps the Facebook page from the OEAA's Old Market Omaha, the Reader. You're checking it out somehow. So we appreciate your tuning in. And again, toydriveforpineridge.org is the website to make those donations. And who do we have lined up next, Rick?
And so this next artist that we're going to hear is from Laura Rain and the Caesars again out of Detroit, Michigan. They come to Omaha probably 2 or 3 times a year before COVID hit. And they've got a nice little recording career going. And so I'm sure as soon as the vaccines become readily available, we'll see them in the market. They're going to do the old blues standard, Baby, Please Don't Go. You know, I love you so. Right here, Pacific Street Blues.
Please don't go. Before I be your dog, before I be your dog, before I be your dog, I get you way down here, make you walk for love, baby, please don't go.
Guess as a lover, I have a ways to go. When someone wants you, they should just say it so. But you'll understand if you'll take my hand, then we can dance real slow to something on the radio. Listen to the radio. Oh, listen to the radio. Let's spend the night together. Baby, don't go. Let's sing it on the radio. Well, I try to find a way to explain to you what's on my mind and not sound so plain to you. But you realize if you close your eyes, the feelings my words can't show, they're playing on the radio. Listen to the radio. Listen to the radio. Let's spend the night together. Baby, don't go. Let's sing it on the radio. The words I say don't seem to sound as real. The songs they play, that's how I really feel. Listen to the radio. Oh, listen to the radio. Let's spend the night together. Baby, don't go. Let's sing it on the radio. Listen to the radio. Oh, listen to the radio. Let's spend the night together. Baby, don't go. Let's sing it on the radio.
Hello, everybody. Papa Rick here. Happy 30th anniversary to Rick Galusha and Pacific Street Blues. Ouch. We're here for the big toy drive, the propane drive for the Pine Ridge Reservation. Wonderful cause. Please consider giving. The songs that I've selected here are two by Leonard Skinner, one called Call Me the Breeze, the other T for Texas Yodel. First one written by John Cable and the latter by Jimmy Rogers. Kind of the same song in my mind, only they did them a little different at a little different time. I've taken some of the words out so it won't get too doggone long, but here we go with Call Me the Breeze and T for Texas. Well, they call me the breeze, I keep blowing down the road. Well, they call me the breeze, I keep blowing down the road. I ain't got me nobody, I don't carry me no load. Give me a T for Texas, give me a T for Tennessee. Yeah, give me a T for Texas, yeah, give me a T for Tennessee. Yeah, give me a T for Thelma, doggone woman made a fool out of me. Ain't no change in the weather, ain't no changes in me. Yeah, well, there ain't no change in that weather, ain't no changes in me. I ain't hiding from nobody, nobody's hiding from me. If you don't want me, baby, mama, you sure don't gotta stall. got a stall. Well, I have me more pretty women than a passenger train can haul. Well, I got that green light, baby. I gotta keep moving on. Yeah, I got that green light, baby. I gotta keep moving on. Well, I might go to California, might go down to Georgia, I don't know. I'm gonna buy myself a shotgun, one with a long, shiny barrel. I'm gonna buy myself a shotgun, one with a long, shiny barrel. I'm gonna shoot myself a rounder, one that stole away my gal. I'm gonna dig you Georgia peaches, make me feel right at home. Yeah, well, I dig you Georgia peaches, makes me feel right at home. I don't love me no one woman, no, I can't stay in Georgia long. I'd rather drink your muddy water, sleep on down in a hollow log. I'd rather drink your muddy water, sleep on down by a hollow log. They do be in the land of Georgia, treated like a doggone dirty dog. Happy birthday, Rick. Remember to get those donations in.
All right, there was Papa Rick on this Pacific Street Blues toy drive for Pine Ridge.
Okay.
Now just a live stream. And thank you so much to everybody who made a donation today at toydriveforpineridge.org. And again, remember that you can continue to do so because while the live stream is about to wrap up, this is a year-round effort. We take for granted that we wake up, every morning, we're warm, we don't have frost on the inside of our walls. There are people that live not very far from where we are here that do experience that, and that's what the propane fund for Toy Drive for Pine Ridge is all about.